the art and the science of personal branding. You see, my story is a very maybe a story that can fit almost every young person across Africa. I started my career in a town in Cameroon known as Kumbo. It's the second largest town in the northwest region of Cameroon. And at the time, I remember like 15 years ago, we used to have electricity just about 3 to 4 hours every day. And internet at the time was not the way as it is today. So somebody asked me, how did you leave from that place and go global in the work that you do? And I always say that personal branding had a very big role to play. And I always say that everybody is talented. Everybody on the surface of the earth is equally talented. You are talented. I am talented. That young man in that village where vehicles cannot go there and there's no electricity, that young man is talented. That young woman is talented. But what is not equally distributed is opportunity. Talent is equally distributed, but opportunity is not equally distributed. So the best way to access opportunities that are not equally distributed is to master the art of positioning yourself. When you understand the science and the art of positioning, visibility, which is branding, you will be able to find opportunities that can sync up with your talent and launch you into better platforms in life and in your journey. You see, because no matter how talented you are, no matter how skillful you are, if nobody knows you, you'll be a talented poor person. You'll be a talented person that cannot create impact, because talent and giftings and skills that is not directly impacting somebody is basically not relevant and not useful to the society. So this is where personal branding comes in. I was teaching somewhere. I've had the privilege to travel more than 20 countries to speak. I've spoken in thousands of events. And I always say this: if there is one thing that you have to learn after you understand your purpose, you develop, you nurture your purpose and your skills and talent, the second most important thing you have to learn, young or old, I don't care if you're 80 years or you're 18 years, the second most important thing you must understand and pay the price to know is how to brand yourself. And that's why I celebrate everybody that is here, because you are learning one of the most important things. Let me tell you something. I am one of those in the school of thought that believes that in this dispensation right now, money is no longer the most powerful currency. Attention is the most powerful currency. If you are able to build, manage, and nurture attention. I even have a book. One of my books I launched few months ago was how to build, manage, and monetize attention, because attention is power. It's a very powerful currency. For example, if I want to make some money right now, I just need to pick one of my courses, one of my books, one of my stuff, go and write a good copywriting, send in my newsletter, social media channels, and I can bet you the next 4 or 5 hours I'll have people paying for some services, because I own their attention, and that goes under branding. So in every journey right now, in every person's journey right now, it is important to understand how branding can play a critical role, right? So there's no way that you can, there's no way I can talk about my story and be able to eliminate the role of branding, the role of building thought leadership, the role of understanding how to position and align myself in platforms, in places, in institutions where the right people can find me. Understand this. Look, if you're gifted and only the poor masses can find you, you only get paid by the poor masses, right? If you are gifted and kings can find you, they'll pay you kingly price, right? I always give an example of something that happened to me in Cameroon. I saw my profile that said I'm from Cameroon and I'm based in the US. No, I'm based in Cameroon. I just travel a lot to do work, right? So in Cameroon, there's a city called Douala and Boya. So there was one particular weekend that something happened that really changed the way I see a lot of things in my business and my work. I spoke in a town known as Boya, and in that town, I was paid about, it was a community of young people per se, and I was paid, let me say, about 30,000 francs in dollars. I'm trying to convert very fast. Let us say, I don't know, $70 or so. And then the next day, there was an emergency meeting in a company in Douala. The Douala is like our own Lagos for Nigerians. I've been to Nigeria just once, been only to Abuja, but I hope you are going to go to Lagos this year. So Douala is like our own Lagos, our economic capital, right? So there was a meeting in Douala the next Sunday, and they needed an expert to speak on something, and it was exactly the same thing I spoke on Saturday. And this company called me, and I gave my price, all of that. And that price was $500,000. Now, the same speaker, the same content, the same mouth, the same young man, the same country, but two different entities paid me two different amounts, right? One paid $70 and one paid over $1,000 for the same content, the same strategy, and everything the same. What is the difference? The difference is the person that identified me and needed my skills. And it was as a result of branding, based on how the person noticed that I could do what they wanted, needed in the company at the time, right? So branding is critical. And in this first phase of this introduction, I would just emphasize, please, don't get tired of paying the price to build your brand. I did a session yesterday, and a young lady commented. I said she was about to give up on social media, and when she listened to the session, she has made up her mind not to give up. It was 5 ways on how social media can contribute to your financial success. I'll share it as a resource. I've packaged a couple of resources to share with you guys because I talk a lot on visibility, thought leadership, and how to build and manage and monetize attention, because I believe this is where this dispensation is going to. Talent is not a problem. Skill is not a problem, especially for us Africans. We can go to school. Let me tell you, Africans are very educated people. But after that, the next thing that you have to pay the price to understand is this online visibility that this amazing woman has put together to teach us to understand. All right. Thank you so much. And if there are more questions, I will handle them. So I don't overtalk.
Thank you, Dr. Joybert, for that insightful presentation. Thank you for bringing to our knowledge that money is no longer the most powerful currency, but attention.
I always say that every purpose was given to you for a group of people. Every skill was given to you to solve particular pain points in the lives of people. And that is the best way to really find your niche, because everything about niching down is, what am I good at that is a pain point in the lives of people that I can solve? And if you want to take it more deeper, where you can really become what I like to call a rare expert, is for you to find those problems, because in every niche you find competition. So there are some problems in the lives of people that you are trying to solve, that your competition, they're also trying to solve. And one of the best ways to become a rare expert and become highly paid, and that's where personally for me I like to operate, where there is where you can call it the blue ocean. For those who have read the red ocean and the blue ocean strategy, this is where you'd find yourself, you're operating from a place where, what are the pain points in the lives of people that you can solve that your competition is not solving, right? Because niching down classified in 2 levels. There is where you begin to solve problems in your target audience, where your competition is trying to also solve the problems. And you can think deeper and brainstorm deeper to find what are the pain points in the lives of your target audience that the competition have not discovered, or maybe they have discovered and it's difficult for them to solve. One thing I've learned in branding is if you know how to solve hard problems that other people are afraid or are not willing to pay the price to solve. For example, there are some pain points that for you to solve, you may need to study longer hours than your average professionals. And that is hard work. So that you become so good at solving what is so hard that competition cannot easily solve. I always say the best way to stand out in niching down is find what is so hard that others are not willing to solve. Do you know why this is fun? Because more than 80% of the human race, they like lazy stuff. They like easy stuff. They like effortless stuff. So the people that have fun to do hard things effortlessly stand out, right? So in niching down and in crafting your unique value proposition, just identify, because your unique value proposition is what is that solution I'm bringing to the table that is so unique. The value is so unique that even my competition in the same sector, they are not able or they are not yet solving or creating that same value, and you begin to provide that particular solution, right? And one thing I'll talk about niching down is also progressive. Oh yes, the more you expose yourself, the more you learn new things, the more you network with other professionals, the more you get a lot of problems coming to your table, the more your niche will be exposed. The more you will discover that, hey, what I thought was my niche, what I thought was what I'm bringing to the table may not be enough, or there is more, you have more capacity to solve more unique problems that you thought you could not solve or you were totally ignorant about, right? So the best way to niche down is begin to link. If you're thinking from the place of purpose, begin to do deeper research. This purpose that I have discovered, who am I called to serve with this purpose? Then what is their pain points? And across the pain points area, break it down into two. What part of pain points are my competitors already solving? And what part of the pain points are they ignoring, or are they it's hard for them to solve, and how can I solve it? That's really where you really discover a unique value proposition and you begin to do something different, right? And to take it a bit further, one thing I love about niching down is that it makes marketing and sales effortlessly. Do you know why? Because when you niche down the right way, you don't need to do over convincing, over marketing for people to buy from you. You don't need to do that. Why? Because your solution is already what they need as far as their pain points are concerned. You see, I was fondly say in the last couple of years, I don't remember the last time that I was struggling to get speaking engagements, I was struggling to get consulting jobs and all of that. Because when you effortlessly niche and you consistently build your brand and strategy around that, it becomes so easy. And the good thing about niching down is it makes you to understand who can afford the value that you're selling. Because one of the most frustrating things that can happen to any professional is to be so good at what you do, but your target audience do not have the paying capacity to pay for what you're selling. You'll be so gifted, but you're just struggling financially, and you cannot create the impact you want to create, right? So niching down will also help you to understand who are the people that have the capacity to pay for the value I am creating, right? And you're able to bring two important things together. People that have the pain points that you can solve, and people that have the capacity to pay the value you're generating. And again, understand this, niching down is progressive. It's not a one-time thing. I can tell you first-hand experience. What you think you're doing now as niching down, in 5 years, you will still be niching down. You'll still be working on it. You'll still be improving on it, right? It is progressive. Why? Because you meet different set of people, different problems, different experts, And now in this dispensation, a new AI application can come up tomorrow and disrupt what you were doing and put you in a different dispensation where if you don't innovate, adapt, and unlearn and relearn, you'll be out of business, right? So you need to have that progressive mindset, or what they call the growth mindset, when it comes to niching down. Don't stay in one place. And remember this, niching down now is not the same as niching down 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Why? Because immediately you take your phone and plug on the internet, you are not competing with your neighbor in Lagos or in Onitsha or in Douala in Cameroon or in Kenya, in Nairobi, right? Immediately you plug your phone on the internet, you're competing with a young man in New York, in Tokyo, in Berlin, Germany, basically from around the world. So when you're niching down, you also need to have a global perspective. If you are interested, of course, at serving clients beyond your immediate community and, of course, your country. But if you pick out these different moving parts in niching down, you will be able to discover something that will become very, very valuable. And lastly, on niching down is be comfortable at collaborating. Yes, you can niche down and you can notice that for you to provide excellent value, you may need to collaborate with another excellent expert from a totally different angle so they can bring their value. So you create exceptional value and you can charge better, right? For example, I do help people to build visibility that can lead them to thought leadership tables on the global scale. And I am not good with graphic designing, right? So I had to get somebody who's very good at graphic design. And I said, you need to be so good at graphic design that when you design a graphic, it will make sense to somebody in Asia, in America, in Europe, in South America, wherever they get this, right? And there were other things that I needed that person to be able to do. So that when they're designing stuff for my clients, there is that exceptional value to the table. So what I used to charge maybe $100, $200, I cannot charge the same thing for even $700 to $1,000. Why? Because the value is really worth it. Because in niching down, I also discovered that to provide exceptional value to this group of people, I am not enough. I will need other experts to jump on in. You must not reveal to them your whole business model, right? And of course, now this is more of business per se, and I just mentioned business model passing, but it's important that when you're niching down, please spend some time to develop a business model. If you have never worked with a business model canvas, please find it on the internet. You see so many templates. When you're trying to niche down, please use a business model canvas. My primary background is business strategy and training since people per se, right? But I've discovered that for professionals, when they are able to use a business model canvas to break down the value they're trying to deliver and the niche they're trying to serve, they will see things that they have never seen or they have never thought that they are important, because the business model canvas is going to open you up to different moving parts. Because everybody is a business person. That's the truth. If you're on social media and you're trying to provide service to individuals or to a group of people, you are in business. You're just a solo business person. So if you are going to really make something out of that, you need to understand the business model in that niche that you are trying to serve with the value or the products that you have productized, so you're able to meet their particular need. Now, to niche down now also, to end with this, sometimes I've given general points here and there, but it becomes more specific if you talk to people one-on-one and begin to understand, okay, this is your kind of value, because niching down to also works on your personality, on your kind of mindset, on your background, on your experience, on your vision. These things play a big role also in how you niche down, because the way A will niche down and succeed is not the same way that B will niche down and succeed. But you need to understand this, and that's why I was talking about the business model canvas. It will help you to customize you as a professional, as a person relating to your target market and to your value in a way that is so practical and is easy for you to implement. right? I did share some resources here for this. One is a 2 hours master class that I taught some professionals on how to build and communicate credibility and visibility and also monetizing that. So some of these things I have explained them in depth, detailedly, so you can find it in the chat box. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you, Dr. Joybert, for that response you gave to the question. And I'm sure most of us are taking notes. And thank you for providing us with that resource too, so that we can have time in our comfort zone to listen to that presentation and get all we need to help us transcend from where we are now to the next level. So in just less than a minute, I don't know how Dr. Joybert is going to do this, but I just think our audience would find this very insightful. And that's why I'm going to ask him this question. In less than a minute, please, as much as you can, just give us the pointer, and I'm sure we'll get it from there. You spoke about identifying a problem that would need a solution. That's the first way to go as a professional. And you would agree that there's a school of thought that says there's nothing new under the sun. So if you have that, and you also mentioned you have that, quote going on, and you've also mentioned that as professionals we need to identify a solution to a problem, and you have a crowded space of everyone being wagon to join the social media space. How do you cut through to give yourself that uniqueness to function properly, and at the end of the day also get value from utilizing these social media platforms? In less than 1 minute.
Yes, this is a very deep question to answer in less than 1 minute. However, let me tell you this. Here's something I always say. Look, there is something new under the sun. You are new under the sun. The way you grew up is different. The way you got your job is different. The way you made your first 1 million is different. The way you did everything, the way life happened to you is unique. Let me tell you, it's as unique as that, right? So tap into that. The big challenge that many people, what I've noticed is people try to copy without contextualizing. See, you can learn from my frameworks, you can learn from my strategies, but the best thing that can happen to you is contextualize it to your personality, to your experience, to your process of life, to your difficulties, to your success stories. Those things that you have, they are so beautiful, right? And because let me tell you something, if everybody starts sharing how they got their first clients in their service business, you will hear unique, different stories. And that's something new. There's something you have in your experience that I have never heard. I will not see on Google. I will not read in a book. It's only you that you have it, right? So you are already unique. We just need to know how to tell these stories in compelling, practical ways, and use these stories to bring out insights, bring out strategies, bring out lessons that people can relate with and find it unique. Because in the next coming years, it's already happening now. Storytelling is more powerful than any other thing. Anybody that can tell a story easily gets the right attention. Why? Because their process, they will say something that nobody can Google and will not be found in a book, except they write it out and people read really for the first time. So that is our greatest advantage that we have as individuals. Our stories from the day we are born up till now, and as we continue to grow and operate in the work that we do.
Thank you. I think you did well with that. I'm not seeing any more questions, but I'll just ask one last question, which I think has been something that has been a very important conversation within professionals. So how do you balance things that you have a passion for, which are not necessarily professional, and your personal branding? Because sometimes it appears like when we talk about personal branding, we, as much as we want to be authentic, it may seem like we need to portray that only that professional side. that side where people think you don't eat, you don't go to the toilet, you don't dance, you don't sing. Meanwhile, these are areas in people's lives where they also find peace or find a passion in. But it may not necessarily be that professional, would I say professional picture you want to throw out. But then sometimes you may go to parties and get people get a picture of you dancing and all of that. I don't know who would give us that insight. I don't know if Dr. Joybert would want to give an insight into that on how you can balance that so it doesn't affect your personal branding.
Yeah, I think it's you see, the society, the world is going to. One of the things I also do is I do a lot of research and I talk about the future of work and the future of organization and the future of the workplace. So we try to anticipate what will happen in 10 years, 20 years, and 50 years in the economy, right? Social media is not going to go back. It's going to consistently become part and parcel of our lifestyle. So that is why if you are in this call and you're still treating social media as a nice to have or a passive something, you are doing a disservice to yourself. Why? Because you also, when you join the platforms, you'll be more busy and you'll be struggling to catch up, right? Why am I saying that? You see, because because it has and it will continue to become part and parcel of our lives. There are some things that, you know, automatically, let me use that word, will appear on social media. And secondly, you see, what differentiates us from AI, what differentiates us from machines are those things that only humans can do, right? So those things that we do, we can use them for our advantage instead. For example, there was a time I posted a dancing video in church on social media. And I just made fun and I said, my life is not just about corporate strategy, market penetration, market expansion. I do serve God, I do have fun, and I love dancing, right? It went viral. People saw the other part of me that is not too serious kind of part per se. So that's why I said that our experiences bring some style and bring some unique perspective to our brand. So as far as it's not negative, far as it's not it cannot another person, is just to find a way to create that balance. What are you comfortable? Because if you only, I also think that if you only bring the perfect part of you on social media, to a certain extent, it will send the wrong message about you. People feel as if you are too perfect, or you're too busy, and they will not connect. They will not really, there's a client that I end up having because the discussion started because she said, "I love the way you talk about your wife," right? And that's how the discussion started, and we ended up being good friends and later clients. You see, so is because nobody's perfect. We do make mistakes, and you can take personal mistakes, and you can create good content from it and be vulnerable and people get to learn from it. For example, machines are not vulnerable. Only humans are vulnerable. If you are able to show vulnerability and craft relevant lessons from that season of your life and use it to inspire or mentor a group of people, it builds your brand in a powerful way. Why? Branding is all about perception. They say when people see you, when those things about you, you communicated. I think that what we need to learn is how to communicate those parts of our lives that inspire, encourage, transform, and at the same time also protect some key things about ourselves that we are not comfortable at pushing it out there. But I feel there should be that balance between the professional Joybert, because you see, there's the branded Joybert, and there is the Joybert, the boy, the man, the husband, the father, the friend, the brother. You see, so people get to confuse between that part, but there's way you can match the two: the branded you and the you. That I don't want to say the unbranded you, but the you, the person, this you, and that this you is so special, is so unique, is so people love to mingle around with it, and they will love to see, some things that that is just you. And because many a times people are going through difficult seasons in their life. And when they see you just being you, it encourages them, it inspires them. Oh, this person also cook, for example, right? This person also go for birthday parties of kids, for example. This person also, those kind of things makes people to see that life is not really a sprint per se, but it's a marathon, and we get to enjoy everything that make us humans because we are not corporate machines. We are humans first before we are professionals. So it plays a big role in because there are some people that want to connect with you because they see that non-professional part of you and they enjoy it, they like it, and they resonate with it, and they connect with you at that level.
Thank you so much. And I'm sure that has helped for most of us who have had that at the back of our minds, trying to sojourn through this professional journey and ensuring that the things we put out there do not negatively affect, our personal branding and the kind of picture we want to present to both our clients and would I say our mentees and our audience.